Hey, Nigel here again from nigelchua.com. So this is my YouTube channel. So welcome. Thank you for watching. So today I want to share with you something that I've been thinking for a while, and I've been thinking why, even though there's so much challenges that came to us, even though there's so much things that we had to go through, that I think that most people don't have to face. Um, then what dawned upon me is this: is that I'm a two times immigrant. What happened was that I was born in Seremban, Negeri Sembilan, and that is about 45 minutes away from KL. It's between Malacca and KL. And when I was born to a fairly poor family. Even I love my dad, I love my mom. They work really hard, but we don't have everything. But we don't, but we're happy. We're happy as fuck, you know. And it's only true as I grow older, I look back. I'm like, oh shit, we were born poor, right? And I should write that three times immigrant, right? And then I remember from Seremban, my dad was posted to Johor. And so all of us uprooted from Seremban, where that was our comfort zone. Our grandparents were there, our aunties and uncles were there, all our entire families were there, right? And we just uprooted and we just go. And what I remember is that we just go. And when we went there, we just survived, right? Um, I remember my dad and mom, we weren't very well to do. So we stayed over at one of our uncle's place, in which I'm still today, I'm very grateful for. I don't think about it then, but now that I look back, I'm like, oh my God, God really protected and covered for us. I remember we stayed at his place for about at least 2 weeks. I think 2 weeks, I can't remember exactly how long, but I remember it's a nice space and there's two, three floors. I can't remember. And in Johor, most people have a house, right? So, and that was in Taman Tasik. Was it Taman Tasik? I can't remember for the life of me. And then we rented a space in Taman Tasik. I know we rented a space in Taman Tasik. And what I remember during that time from Seremban, how we live really frugally. We have not much food. I don't know how I got such a big size. Perhaps I eat a lot of rice, and bread and biscuits. Yeah, that's why. Thanks, mom. I'm grateful. Don't get me wrong. So, and I know that when we went from Seremban, when we live, we had to live really frugally, and we don't have a lot of money, but we have enough to live. Our parents did the best for us. And when we went to Johor, when stayed in our uncle's house for a while, after when we rent a space, I remember I have bits and pieces of my memories where, my mom would wait for the vegetable guy and she'll be the last customer for the day, and then she would take all the balance that people didn't buy. That means the vegetable that wasn't sold, and she would take them all in bulk, right? So this would be the like end of the day where people don't want this are the remainder, and we'll take them. I had a lot of memories where my mom would make soup out of anchovies, so ikan bilis, and my mom will always remind me and remind my brother that how we would stay at a KFC and McDonald's, look inside, and sometimes she'll be embarrassed and guilty. But I never felt like that when I was young. I never felt like guilty. And for me, what my parents put on the table for me to eat, I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm really fucking glad. You know, I I don't I don't ask why couldn't I be born in a rich family? Why couldn't I have born with more money? Why couldn't no 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 no. Let's get this straight. I'm fucking glad I'm born. I'm fucking glad I'm here. I don't need a lot. And I also remember where we ate a lot of bread, we ate a lot of rice, we ate a lot of biscuits with oats. As I look back, I'm like, oh gosh, we eat a lot of volume food, but we didn't have much of the quality food. We didn't have a lot of meat, we didn't have a lot of vegetables, and I remember we had a lot of rice and soup and gravy, a lot of eggs. Actually, even eggs were ration out. And I remember my dad working really hard. He would go out early in the day and he'll come back about maybe 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, maybe 7. And he worked really hard every day. He made sure there's more than enough for us. He made sure there's a roof over our heads. And my mom made sure that we were well fed, right? And only later she started working. She would take she take the bus Gilang, the factory bus, and she would, leave for Singapore early in the morning. I remember in Taman Tasik she would take the bus and then she'll come back. And I remember her going to work every day like that. I think this is supplement income, right? And I see how my parents survive, and I would just roll with it. I think I never knew what it was, but I had always been grateful from young. I'm grateful to be here. And then as I grew up, I studied, I do my stuff, and then I went to Singapore to study. And when I come to Singapore to study, I moved to Singapore eventually, right? And when I moved here to Singapore, I'm in Singapore right now. I have no friends here. I know I came with one friend, cool, right? So, but I have no friend. I know there are relatives here. I have no, like, childhood friends here. I have nothing here. And what I know is that my dad will give me 700 bucks, 750 ringgit, which then would, at that time, would change to be about 450, 500 bucks Sing. And then I will pay 200 bucks for a shared room rental, and I live off 200 bucks plus. And I lived like that until for my poly days. And then after I immediately, as soon as I could, I sought a bursary, in which I'm very grateful I got a bursary, and then which gave me money to live more easily on. And then when I pay back my bond, I worked there. I realized, oh no, this is not going to be enough for me to live, because I can't live with such income, And then so I started my business. Then after I finished my bond, I started my business. And then it's so good that I started a business, because I'm not a very good employee in the sense that I'm a bit of I think a bit more rebellious, a bit more. I question things. I want to find the better way of doing things, right? And I knew from young that I was going to be a businessman, an entrepreneur. But back to the topics, that what I observed and learned from my father, as he had us from young in Seremban, how he survived, from Seremban when he moved to Johor. Johor, if he didn't have friends as well, he moved there, he was all alone, right? He didn't have money as well. He stayed at his brother-in-law's place. I watched how my mom survived. And then from there, as I took what I learned from there as an immigrant, or am I considered second generation? Yes, second generation immigrant. Then I took what I learned from a second generation immigrant. I brought it to Singapore, where I became a first generation immigrant in Singapore. And because of that, I'm a two-time immigrant, right? You learn to survive. I don't need much, but you learn the tenacity of surviving. You learn how to live. You learn to cut out shit that you don't need. Fuck, I'm not gonna go to, I have no love for watches. Thank God I have no high expense hobbies, right? But I learned how to survive. And because of that ability, right, I'm able to really, what's that word? Hustle with a shoestring budget. I started a business with no money down. And, from the first month I started a business, I doubled my income. And then from first year, double my income. Second year, still continue to grow my income. By the time third year, I felt, no, being a freelancer isn't good enough, right? So I climbed up the ladder in the sense that I started to build a business. And my first clinic failed, because the landlord then, he re, we withhold information about termites, and I found out too late. And then the second landlord played me out. Third landlord played me out. By the time the third one, right, played me out, I was really a bit down. It was 2 years of pain, right, where I'll build something up, then somebody tear it down. I'll build something up, someone will tear it down because of their own selfish agenda. By then the fourth one came, it seems like though we struck gold. There was a good synergy, and the company that we worked with was quite good. And then I started growing from there, and that was quite rapid. That was about 2012, and 2012 to 2014, we grew from like a $100,000 business. We grew to a really like a good six-figure business. And then my business was acquired in 2014. 2014, yes, that's right. End of 2014, when after my dad died, I didn't want to have the business. I was tired of it. Really. It's like I found it meaningless because what's the point? I was freeing myself up so I can spend more time with my loved ones. And then after my business was acquired, I was looking for a moratorium. After that, I left. I wanted to leave. They wanted me to stay with a lot of money thrown in, right? But for me, once you have been an immigrant twice over, I know how to choose. I know how to see what's good, what's not good, what I want, what I don't want. And I find it really exciting. I said, I'm tired. I'm just going to take a sabbatical. So, but my wife couldn't stop, right? The family need to have fun to eat, right? We have two young kids. So she started a business with two other friends that we knew. We are all close friends. I couldn't join them because I sold a business and I got a garden leave and things like that. So I didn't join them. It's quite clear I didn't do it. And during that time, there was a lot of things that we had to go through, from the betrayal of these friends, from the buyer giving us more unnecessary challenges that was eventually solved. But all those work in such a way that towards where I want to go. And today, because of the cumulative experiences that I had, so from moving from Seremban to Johor was first time immigration. From Johor, I lived for a while, to Singapore was a second time immigration. Actually, technically, this title isn't right. The third time immigration was me moving from an employee to become a freelancer. That's a third immigration. The fourth of it was that from freelancer to become an agency. That's number four. Then I decided agency wasn't really good. And then from agency, I decided we need to become a clinic chain, right? So we built up. So that's my fifth immigration we built up. And when I built up, I realized, okay, so we built it to a good size. We can sell it because of people buying. So that's a sixth immigration. Solid, right? And then I wasn't keen to stay. I wanted to leave after my moratorium is done. Then after that, then I left, right, for a sabbatical. That's my seventh immigration. So I left for a sabbatical. So I was in sabbatical for 18 months. After that, I moved into my wife's business. That was my eighth immigration. Wow, that's a lot. But as I live this life, I won't change the thing. I just live at two-time immigration. Being an immigrant, or just moving, making big decision to move, it makes you smarter, leaner, better. And then you stop bad practices or at least stop working with idiots and dumbasses, right? Who only just know how to take and do not know how to give. And that's why I shared in an earlier video that I'm 10 times happier. I've never been so happy. It's ridiculous in a good way. And I wish the same thing for you. If there are some big decisions that you're going to make, don't put them aside for too long. Ponder them, question it, study the pros, the cons, what would happen here, what would happen there. And once you've pondered it for maybe around, say, a month or two, is more than enough, especially if it's a big decision. If you're going to buy chicken rice, come on, just take 2 minutes, right? But if it's really a big decision, whether should you start a business, or should you go back to working for somebody, or you want to take a sabbatical, or you want to move country, or have a child, have a think about it, but don't be paralyzed by analysis. Analyze, then decide, make a stance, and go for it. I have faith in you. I know that you will be good. Do the right thing. Always choose to do good and right. Don't cut corners. Don't cheat others just for some short-term thinking. It doesn't work that way. All those companies that try to do short-term growth, short-term trying to make more money, in it doesn't work that way. You got to be building for the long term, build for the fucking long. You got to think of legacy. That's how long I'm thinking. When I think in terms of 5, 10, 30, 50 years, the time after I'm gone. That's how I think. So God bless you. You take care. I love you. I'm proud of you. See you guys. Bye.